Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Tuesday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Jay Hill, how we doing?
I wish I was doing a lot better right now, but you know how things are right now in Tiger Nation.
We'll get there. Busy show. We'll have Luke Johnson in 30 minutes to talk about the Saints. Some movement on the kicker front there. It sounds like Cody Parkey is hurt and was playing through it. I don't think Will Lutz is going to be ready. What are they going to do there? How do they feel going into the bye week? Who can we expect back? A lot of things to chat about with Luke at 12:30. We'll finish this hour with some LSU baseball talk. I was able to get out there and see a little bit, not a ton of takeaways, but a little bit of preliminary talk on a Tuesday during football season. So we'll get to that at the end of this hour. We'll do our SEC tier list, SEC power rankings in hour number 2. Adam Rittenberg from ESPN.com will also jump aboard. He wrote a column kind of about the coaching carousel and the marketplace that's going to be upcoming here, and want to just talk to him about that over on ESPN.com. So Adam will join us in the second hour. But Jay Hill, let's start here. I had a thought. When you're struggling, which clearly LSU is, I don't think that's news to anybody. When you're struggling, most of the time you try to find something you do really well and make that the backbone of your team. What do we do well, and how do we create a situation where that's going to help us to compete and hopefully try to win games? And I start looking around, and I go, what can this team hang its hat on? And I'll talk you through that point, and we'll discuss it. But let's look at the offense. You got two ways to move the football. You can throw it or you can run it. Right now, we know LSU's running game stinks. We've talked about it for 3 weeks. And yes, statistically, it looks better what happened on Saturday night. The fact of the matter is that you ran it for 2.5 yards a carry in the first half, and you got some yards going in the second half when you were down by 4 touchdowns. Is this team a really solid running football team, a good running team? Does it look like a running game that's really getting going? No, it doesn't. So then you look to the passing game and look at what they've done the last 2 weeks. Yeah, in the first drive against Auburn, they went right down the field. They hit Kayshawn for 55 yards, the big play to Kayshawn for the touchdown. They had 115 yards passing thanks to penalties on the first drive of that game. But then after that, you had 210 yards and no offensive touchdowns the rest of the way. And then against Kentucky last week, you threw for 261 and 1 touchdown. And 30% of your passing production, Kayshawn Butte, just went off on a cart. So it's not as if LSU's slinging the ball all over the yard and is some sort of prolific passing team either. They're not great either perspective of the offensive side right now.
Yeah, it is. And that's what we've seen from the beginning of the season. Just very alarming, that UCLA game. You just thought we were going to trot out there to California, hurricane, no hurricane, didn't matter. We just had so much talent on this roster. You think we'd be able to run it down their throat? You think we'd be able to pass it just the way we wanted to? The line we had from last year, a ton of those guys back. You think they have the veteran leadership that you would need to have, and we just haven't had that. And I think that started from the first game of the year. The offensive line has not been dominant. We weren't able to just dominate teams, just run simple run plays and get easy plays. Everything we've had as an offense this year, it seems like we've had to fight for. It's been hard. Even the game against Central Michigan, you had to go up and jump in the air and catch a ball, one-on-one balls on guys. Yeah. Like, everything is hard. Like, and that's just no way to play football consistently. Just, you're going to find yourself behind the sticks. You're going to find yourself turning it over. You're going to find yourself getting strip sacks like we've been doing. So just everything has continued to rear its ugly head. We may have it fixed against a McNeese or against a Central Michigan, but 6-8 against Power 5 schools since the championship, and that's just what's been showing week in and week out.
So let's look on the defense, okay? You got the run game. You got the pass game. We thought that maybe LSU was moving in the right direction in terms of stopping the run. You limited Bixby. Hunter got going, had 2 big plays that hurt you. But look, in the 2 games against the elite running teams you've played, Kentucky and then UCLA, who can run the football, they got whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted against your running team. You can put that on coaching. You can put that on play. You can put that on injuries, whatever you want to do. Those 2 teams that wanted to come out and run the football, and you knew that, ran it right down your throat. So for me to sit here and say, man, the run defense is really coming along, it's really not. And then look at the pass defense, DBU, LSU. You got guys back there. Yeah, Stingley gets hurt. Okay, SEC quarterbacks are completing 67% of their passes for 806 yards. That's 270 yards a game, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick. Like, that's pretty efficient passing against you too. Like, you're not great against that.
Yeah, that's what I tweeted during the game. I said every quarterback that lines up against LSU plays like a wall beater against us. You look at their stats from other games.
DTR, Bo Nix, Will Levis. I mean, Levis was terrible the weeks before LSU. He was brilliantly efficient on Saturday.
Yes, that's what blew my mind. It's like we do the scouting reports, we look at the matchups, we look at what those guys have done. They turn the ball over a ton, not one turnover against us. We couldn't force a ball out. We couldn't force them to throw an interception. Rodriguez wouldn't fumble the ball. It's just mind blowing to me, and I think it just, as much as I keep pointing it to it, it's the coaching. Just when guys are running down the field wide open, that's nothing to do with your talent. That's guys just not knowing where to be or just not understanding the concepts of the defense. And you would think that you would have that figured out. So I don't know if there's guys out there that don't need to be out there, and maybe give some other guys opportunities to play and do a better job, but we can't have those things. The run fits were bad last week. The defensive line got worn down, and you're getting not touched till 6 yards down the field for Rodriguez. It's just bad, man. Bad on all fronts. I really can't point to something that our defense did last week. I said, you know what? I can hang my hat on that. That's what we can, kind of point towards. Our D-line didn't get after Levis. That's something that we thought, we had 18, almost 20 sacks. You think, man, we're going to get after the quarterback. Just hasn't happened these past few weeks.
Let's go to those numbers because, you could give up some yards, but if you make big plays behind the line of scrimmage or you get turnovers, then that's another way to play some defense. And after a couple of weeks, we were thinking, all right, this is a disruptive defensive front. Tackles for loss. Against UCLA, they had 9. Against McNeese, they had 16. Against Central Michigan, they had 14. I mean, you're getting back there. You're making plays in the backfield. Against Mississippi State, 2 tackles for loss. That's a tough team to get TFLs on, granted. Against Auburn, 2 tackles for loss. And against Kentucky, 3 tackles for loss. Those are teams that are going to run the football that you've got chances to make plays behind the line of scrimmage. You didn't. The sack numbers. UCLA, they got 4. McNeese, they got 9. Central Michigan, they got 5 sacks. SEC play, Mississippi State, 1. Auburn, 0. Kentucky, 1. No disruptive plays behind the line of scrimmage either.
Yeah, that's just it's why it's so bad, man. You make your job so hard as a defense. You give teams time and time again to run plays, to counter plays, to make adjustments on the sideline. And it's just a full team from the top down. I can see if our offense grinded teams out, we're killing the time of possession. We can't do that either. We're not explosive in the passing game. Everything is yards after the catch. For whatever reason, we aren't hitting those deep post balls. We're not hitting those balls down the sideline. So you just make everything hard. Your offensive line has to go 10, 12 plays without giving up a holding call or doing something, that puts the drive behind you. So on both sides of the ball, man, just have to get so much better. It's just you would think that at this point of the season, playing teams like Kentucky and Auburn, who I think is not probably going to win more than 7 games this year, you would think you have just a way more fighting chance. But these second halves have just been quietly embarrassing, to be honest with you.
And then the other thing would be, okay, can we get some turnovers, get some interceptions? You've got 3 in 6 games, which is, not all that productive. So it's a bleak thing to say, and I don't want to sit here and say it, but that was my thought to prepare this segment when I started thinking about it yesterday. I went, okay, what can they really hang their hat on to try to dictate this part of the game be the most important and help you to win games? And I know what they'll try to do. It's going to try to be some explosive plays in the passing game. That's something that they were able to create against Mississippi State, create early in the game against Auburn, and certainly create against UCLA. Explosive plays in the passing game is probably the thing you do the best, but obviously that went away against Kentucky last week as well, and when you can't get those and you're not sustaining drives, it's a bleak thing to sit here and look at this team. Where do they go? Because the injuries continue to pile up, and there's not something they can hang their hat on. It's disappointing.
I think for me, the most alarming thing with this defense, 2 weeks in a row, you got 8 guys in the box. You brought that 4-2-5 system over here. There's 8 guys in the box time and time again. First, second, third down, 8 guys in the box, and teams are still running it right down your throat. I can see if, we're playing some mixed coverages. We're doing some different things. But what I saw last week, a lot of vanilla coverages, a lot of just covering one man with a single free high safety, and your 8 guys are just manned up with theirs. And we're playing in the box, and we still can't stop the run. That's alarming. You don't want to see that. And then, like you said, the tackles for loss, the sacks are starting to disappear as well. That's a team that's going to give up a lot of points, and that's exactly what you saw last weekend.
So what do you think they do? What do they try to do?
I think the injury bug has bit this team like no one probably could have predicted before the season. Just a lot of guys on the training table not able to help you out there on the field. That's something that the coaches, he don't want to be dealing with, but that's something that we have to deal with. So you got to find guys in there. That's why you recruit these 4- and 5-star guys that we have on this roster. You try to recruit some guys that can get in there and get the job done. But I think for both coordinators, man, you got to try some more new stuff. I think we're too vanilla on the defensive side of the ball. I actually think Pete didn't really call that bad of a game last week. We missed some chances, some opportunities that really could have blew that game open, but you got to keep spinning the wheels. You got to keep trying new things because just running that stuff that we ran last week, especially on the defensive side of the ball, teams are just going to run it down your throat.
This is the last year thing. This is not a this year thing. I don't know what they're talking about this year, but last year the consistent message from Ed Ogeron and from the players they talked to were, we got to simplify, we got to simplify, we got to simplify. When I hear we got to simplify, that means we can't do very much. That tells me that if we're subtracting instead of adding, that means we can't perform, and that's a scary thing. Now I haven't heard that this time around. I know they want to move more quickly, and maybe that means thinning down the play sheet so that we can move more quickly. But I'm fine with that. That's not a message I've heard this year. It's just one I heard last year that made me go, that's trouble. If you're talking about simplifying things, that just means you're not adding.
Yeah. Come on. Like I say all the time, the other side gets paid too. They got scholarships too. Their coordinators get paid a lot of money too. When you're going out there and you're running these vanilla coverages like we ran last week, we were just running cover one man. I saw it from just watching the TV copy. And so I know they're seeing Cohen's a former NFL guy. He can see that stuff. And I know we're tough on the outside and in the nickel spots, so teams are just attacking us up the seam. They're attacking our linebackers in coverage. They're getting us switched, and you're seeing the same busted coverages time and time again. Guys just running simple flat routes, simple wheel routes out the backfield, and just running wide open. It's just, to me, it's inexcusable on all fronts, from the coaching down to the players. You just can't have that, man. And this LSU football team, to see the drop-off and the regression from the national championship, I did not think we'd be here losing to Kentucky by almost 3 scores. It's just bad, man. We gotta turn this thing around.
Just based on kind of reading the room here, I don't think Bama Gump and I are going to agree on much, but he did get in the Bayou Ford chat on the YouTube channel and say they do have great uniforms. Bama Gump, that is correct. We have unbelievable uniforms.
Oh, man.
Every time they come out of the tunnel, I'm like, God, that is just so good. And Kentucky comes out Saturday with those horrible gray uniforms that look terrible. They're not, gray's not a school color. They shouldn't be wearing them. We look amazing. And then it was 35-7, and they didn't really care what you're wearing because it didn't really matter. But they'll come out of that tunnel in the bright sunshine in Tiger Stadium on Saturday, and they will look fire again in those unbelievable uniforms. That's a good point. I just don't know how many points we're going to be awarded on the scoreboard based on the fact that our threads are so sick.
Man, I look, we're going to look good. We're going to have the swag. They're going to have their swag rags, their towels, and you would think that you look good, you play good, but we have not been playing good this season. And we have not. It's not been the standard that you want to see from this football team. Just the crazy part about it, I say it all the time, there's so many guys that you see on draft boards, so many guys that are going to play on the next level on both sides of the ball. You would think you'd be able to have a little more success, but that's just not been the case.
Has not. So that's a negative segment. There's no doubt about that. So we are going to change the tune a little bit, and we're going to say some positive things here in the next segment because it's more what we would like to see moving forward as this team's kind of at a crossroads right now, sitting here at 3-3. So get in the Bayou Ford chat. Tell us 2 things you would like to see from this team for the rest of the season. Jeremy's got a couple. I've got a couple as well. We'll get to those. Luke Johnson with us in 15 minutes. Luke will be here talking a little bit about the Saints, some baseball talk at the end of this hour. And we'll get to our SEC Power Rankings and Adam Rittenberg in hour number 2. We're off in the open field on a Tuesday. It's Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
Do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
Want your stuff. Now open in Baton Rouge. Visit dependablestorage.com.
I don't need a lawyer.
Come on, man. You need MGM representing you.
MGM.
Your home for the NFL is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's week 7 in the prep football season, and we get you started Friday night with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And then starting at 10 o'clock, it's a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford chat on the YouTube channel is buzzing a little bit as we look for two things you'd like to see from this team as LSU moves forward. I've got a couple, but Jeremy, I'll go to you first. Give me your first thing you'd like to see from this team moving forward.
I think from the offensive side of the ball, just look a little more organized. I'm not going to ask for too much in this segment. You know? Got to temper my expectations just a little bit here. Just try to get a little more organized as an offense. Getting in and out of the huddle. If you're not going to be in the huddle, then have guys on the line of scrimmage ready to snap the ball. And really, if it gets to 10 seconds, there's no time to look to the sideline after that. Just run the play or get whatever checks you need to make. And I think you'll start to see a little more success from this offense. But the more and more I look at this team, there's so much stuff that we got to fix. I think just starting with the simple basic stuff will start hopefully carrying over to the other side of in the other aspects of the offense.
Yeah, that's really not a tough ask, just to get organized and do it. And there's a part of us that should have seen a little bit of that coming with a guy who had never called plays before. That to me, just as someone who doesn't really understand the mechanics of how all that stuff works and how quickly things have to move and process, and it to me seems a little bit intimidating of doing it for the first time. Everybody's got to do it for the first time at some point, but this was a tough spot, and there is no question that LSU has struggled to get the play calling in. Again, I try not to step out of bounds and talk about things I have no idea about. When you're burning timeouts at the rate LSU is, there's an issue there.
Yeah, you just don't want to see that. And the way I look at it is if every team in the SEC had this issue, then I'll say, okay, that's maybe something that's extremely hard to do as a coordinator. Yeah. But we're one of the only few teams that this is happening to. You watch Ole Miss, they're running a ton of plays. I can go on and on. I don't need to do that right here, but we got to get the plays in. We got to get confidence. When you hear the play, it has to permeate throughout the whole offense. When you hear it, guys know what to do. They know where they're going. And you can fire off the ball and start just looking more efficient. I think that's what's been killing this offense. And you find yourself in these little 4th and 2s where you have to get it. If you're running more efficiently, you don't have to put yourself in that situation.
Here's my first one of 2, and then we'll get your second. Last year when Jamar opted out and then Terrace Marshall decided he was done and then Eric Gilbert went out, you had a void in the passing game of who was going to step up, and obviously Kayshawn became the guy and set an SEC record in the last game of the season. I'm not expecting anybody on this roster to set the SEC record, but if either Deion Smith or Brian Thomas or Malik Neighbors, even Jack Besh, if one of those guys becomes a clear-cut number 1 guy and makes some jaw-dropping plays and asserts himself as a true alpha in this offense while there is a void there, that would be a really positive thing. I think it's more likely that they all just kind of get in the mix and you see some production from all of them, which is what you've seen so far. But I would like to see one dude step up and be like, this guy's a force. They can't deal with him, and he's going to be a star at LSU. That sometimes happens at the end of a person's freshman year. It took Leonard a little while to get going his freshman year, and finally by the end of it, he's running over Florida and Texas A&M guys, and he struggled a little bit early. We saw the Heisman pose when he scored a touchdown against like Sam Houston, I think. So I mean, it's tough sometimes early in your freshman year, but by the end of your freshman year, some of the guys that are inevitably going to be stars become that. We saw it from Kayshawn last year. My hope is that one of those guys steps forward in that spot.
Yeah, that gives me, that position group gives me the most hope to see a star. Yeah. I think there's just a ton of talent in that room, and I know we're talking about some of the older guys that they have, but to me, those younger guys just have a way higher ceiling. To me, I think you're talking first, second-round picks in that younger group that you can pick out and really see that if these guys just keep getting opportunities, they're going to continue to make plays. So I wouldn't be shocked if Brian Thomas starts going off, if Deion Smith starts going off, and Malik Neighbors starts having some big performances with Kayshawn being out. That would not shock me at all, and I think that would be great, especially with Max being so young, just only really having 8 starts as a quarterback. I think the more young guys you can have having success, the better it is for this young team.
Kayshawn's got 509 yards on the season. Second place is Brian Thomas with 188. Yeah. I mean, he's 300 yards, 320 30 yards clear of second place. He's clearly been the alpha, as we all know. I'd like it if somebody stepped up there. What you got for number 2 on your list?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to ask for too much. I just want our defense to hit someone. Just hit someone. Just put your hat on them. Maybe put your hat on the football. Just try to make your presence felt as a defense. I think the thing that puts the most fear in my heart is that your reputation, just who you are around the SEC. Teams are going to start looking at you as a stat game. They're going to start looking at you as a team where, man, we got LSU's defense. We're going to have a day. It's going to be a party in the end zone. We're going to be striking up the band. And that's just no way standard for this program. So I think for us as a defense, you got to make your presence felt a lot more. Got to be a lot more physical. You got to start setting the edge. You got to start pushing people back. And you got to start hitting people. And I think hopefully that'll start, being contagious, and hopefully we can turn the ball over as well.
I'm looking for a program first the rest of the year for my final one of things that we'd like to see moving forward. I would really like it if Cade York won the Groza Award. I think he's the best kicker in the country. He's already banged home a couple of 50-plus yarders. I think it helps if you can boot a game winner at some point, some kind of deal where you get a little bit more publicity. But they do a pretty good job of finding the guys. I mean, the year that Brad Wing didn't win the Ray Guy, Louisiana Tech's punter won it. That's not exactly the most high-profile school in the country. So, look, I think that would be something that would be really cool. No one's ever won the award from LSU. We thought Cole Tracy may have deserved it a couple of years ago. He did miss a couple against Alabama that hurt. But, Cade's been perfect thus far this year. He's got some with the distance. I would love it if LSU's first Lou Groza Award winner was this year. So that's something that I'll be paying attention to. Look, it's not the most fun thing because you obviously are stalling and not scoring touchdowns, and it may cost you some games. But look, if we're not gonna win the West, we're not gonna win the national championship. Maybe we can get a Groza Award. I'd like to see the best kicker in LSU history operate. I'm trying here. We're trying to have some optimism in this segment.
Man, I never thought we'd be week 7 in the season asking for a Lou Groza winner.
The Groza baby.
Not the SEC West, not Atlanta, maybe even a playoff. We're asking for a Groza, but that's what this team has played like. You got to find some glimmer of hope, and honestly, with everyone being hurt, he's probably the best player we have on the team right now, if you ask me.
I mean, he at his position, it's not even close. I can't even come up with a close second. So we're looking at a few here in the Bayou Ford chat. Brian Burgess said he'd like to see Sage Ryan get in there. Brian, I think you're going to see that starting this week. I have not been out to practice this week, and we haven't heard that specifically from Ed, but I think that time is getting pretty close. That Sage was out for a little bit. He's back. And I think there's a good chance you're going to see some of him moving forward. I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too. Just talking to the coaches that I've talked to, they say just been really just riddled with injuries, not really, being able to play the amount of snaps that you want to see for a guy, but raw talent, super explosive, super fast, 5-star prospect. So you would think that he'd be able to go out there and give a little more than what we've seen, but we'll see. We'll see on Sage. Hopefully he can start playing soon though, because I want to see what he can bring.
Bernard Heinold asked, "Where's Chris Hilton been?" I don't know the answer to that, Bernard.
He's been hurt.
Been out. I mean, I hadn't noticed him at practice, and I hadn't been in 2 weeks, but I hadn't noticed him out there. Hadn't heard anything about him, and I didn't. I guess I'll take a look at that pregame and see if he's running around out there. But I don't know. That's a good question, and certainly a sick talent if they could get him, involved. Like I said, there's plenty of room at the wide receiver spot. You can just. There's plenty of guys that can play.
Yeah. No, I think he's been hurt. He's been battling something because every time I'm around there, he's in the training room. So I think he's just been hurt recently. But another super, super explosive kid that I got a chance to watch in camp, and he got his head by the goalpost like on a one-on-one drill.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away by that. He's just super, super explosive.
And when you say that, you oftentimes use the phrase "hit your head on the goalpost," meaning a long touchdown. This, he almost actually hit his head on the goalpost jumping to catch a football.
Yeah.
That's how athletic this kid is.
Yeah. So we got a ton of talent. That's one thing that we don't have to worry about as LSU football program. You just recruit this state, you're going to find some guys, and that's what we have in that receiver room.
You want to know where the state of this fan base is in this football season? We're trying to bring some positivity, trying to bring some juice, trying to give some optimism about what we may find down the road here in this football season, and the chat has devolved into where to find used golf clubs in Baton Rouge. That's what people are using this for. I asked for people to give me stuff they've seen. Some did, but we're talking about used golf clubs here. That's kind of where we are. And then you got a little right there. Jason Allen says, please talk about baseball. Jason, you will get your wish in about 18 minutes from right now. We will talk about a little bit of baseball. But now we'll take a time out and go to Luke Johnson. He covers the New Orleans Saints. A lot to get to as they enter their bye week at 3-2. We'll get Luke's opinion on everything Saints. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call.
Coming up on Tuesdays, Off the Bench. Coach O stops by the program to highlight what the Tigers need to fix. And our guy, Nick Underhill, gives you the best breakdown of the black and gold. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field on a Tuesday, Hunt and Hill. Time to bring back aboard Luke Johnson. Luke covers the Saints. Luke, how we doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Got any bye week plans?
I'm going to sit around and hopefully have a bunch of baseball to watch and not just have one more game of my Brewers to watch today.
I wish I could say I was pulling for your Brewers, but you know very well that is not the case.
Yeah, I know. That's why we love each other, man. If we were just like friendly and agreed on every single thing, I don't think that we could really coexist. It'd be too much. I need to hate you just a little bit.
Well, my team's sitting at home and I don't have any more players. All my players play for all the teams in the playoffs and hit home runs. So yeah, great to watch. Let's talk a little Saints football though. We talked about this yesterday on air. How should the Saints feel at 3-2 entering the bye?
I think they should feel okay. I don't think they should feel great, right? I think if you were to tell me back in July, okay, the Saints are going to be without Will Lutz and Michael Thomas and all these people, and they're 3-2 going into the bye, and they're about to get all them back, I'd be like, yeah, great. But I think the way these 5 games have happened have just like brought a little bit of concern into my brain when I'm thinking about the Saints, and I'm not sure all these issues are going to go away just by adding some really good players back to the mix. It's been really concerning seeing him just be a completely different team from week to week. I think it's probably past time that we stop talking about Drew Brees as it relates to the current Saints. But there's just kind of these through lines that go through this start to the season where you're like, man, there's all these things that Drew did and brought to the team that just made them consistent, an excellent team week in, week out. That gave them a chance to win every week. And right now we're just seeing a very inconsistent team. So I don't know if that just magically goes away when you get Michael Thomas and David Onyemata and the like back. It's a little concerning, but I think it's better to be 3-2 dealing with those issues than it would be to be 2-3 or 1-4, right? Obviously. So they'll get some guys back. They have some time to figure some stuff out, but I really want to see this team put two good games together. I think they have a chance to do that the next time they go out and play a Seattle team that's without their starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's an interesting mix that we'll talk about certainly next week. But as far as this Saints team entering the bye week, who do we expect to be back for Seattle? Is there a couple guys for sure? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I wish I could say anything for sure, but they're so tight-lipped about injuries here. I would kind of anticipate there's a good chance that Michael Thomas, who's eligible to come off PUP, we have not seen a second of him at practice just hanging around, but I know he's there, right? I think there's a chance he comes back off of PUP for this Week 7 game. I think there's a pretty good chance that Eric McCoy comes back. I think there's a possibility that Will Lutz comes back, although my colleague Jeff Duncan reported today that they're probably going to bring a kicker in this week just in case. That's still a week and a half out. And then there's other guys like Nick Vannett, and guys who are probably a little bit less important to the team's overall success, but they might start getting some depth back. But still, I think there's a chance Marcus Davenport isn't back and Teron Armstead isn't back, and there's still going to be some guys missing. They've got some holes still yet to fill.
I know this is driving Sean Payton absolutely crazy right now, but can anyone in that locker room or coaching staff explain like the up and down play from game to game from this team?
No, I think that's you're absolutely right about that, Jeremy. It's probably just absolutely driving him up a wall right now. It's like clockwork, right? They were awesome in week 1. They were bad in week 2. They were pretty good in week 3. They were pretty bad in week 4. And then last week, it's just like every week it's up and down. And I think this bye is really coming at a good time for them to sit down and just take a big 30,000-foot view of everything and figure out, okay, what is going on that's making us do this? They've tried like the talking approach, and they've tried the mind games approach with the yo-yos and the lockers. But I think they have a chance now to just look at how everything's unfolded and see, okay, what have we been doing? What could we have possibly done wrong? What of this is related to us being on the road for a month? What of this is related to us having all these guys out? I don't think they're in the business of making excuses, but they can look at all these things and see how they impact the team and see if they can try to figure out a way to just get a more consistent product on the field. Because, there's been times when they've looked like a playoff team. There've been times when they've looked like a division-winning team. And then there's been times when it looks like they're going to just end up with a top 15 draft pick. It's really, really hard to peg this team right now. And I think they have a chance to try to figure some of that out right now. And, a lot of it is probably related to them bringing a lot of new players in and putting guys in spots where they weren't before. But, they got to figure it out at this point. Like after they get back from this bye, they're going to have 12 straight weeks of football games. There's going to be no time to figure it out at that point.
I guess the positive is that they have shown those flashes. If we were sitting here after 5 games and it was just all mediocre, then you might have a bigger problem on your hands. But they've got the ability to do it. One thing that caught my eye on Twitter this morning, Luke, is that the Saints are second to last in the NFL in terms of sacks. Trey Hendrickson obviously walked out the door, got paid. You've had a lot of guys missing up front, but do you think that's the easiest fix to create that pressure is just to get some guys back on the field?
Yeah, I think a big part of this is they haven't really had any interior pressure, right? I don't even think Shai Tuttle, Malcolm Roach, that whole group that they've had rotating in there, I don't think they have a sack yet. Everything's been either blitzers or Tano Passanio or Peyton Turner, Marcus Davenport, guys off the edge. So getting Onyemata back is going to be really, really big for him. And I think getting Marcus Davenport back is going to be big. And they have to get more production out of Cam Jordan, right? I mean, he has been getting a lot of extra help. He's been getting chipped and double teamed and all that stuff. But they're paying him $18 million a year to beat that and to go get the quarterback and to bring him down. So, I mean, the pressure rates have been okay. They got to get more sacks, though. The sacks, when you're talking about the difference between a 2nd and 8 or a 2nd and 16, I mean, that can totally wreck a drive. And that has to be a bigger part of their defense moving forward. Because it's really, if you look at the last couple of years, they've finished in the top 5 in the NFL in sacks. Pretty much, I think, each of the last 4 years. And it's kind of driven their defensive success because they've been able to put teams in these 3rd and long situations and get their defense off the field. So I think that's kind of going to be a key to their second half push here, their second 2/3 of the season, whatever's left.
Jameis Winston completing 60% of his passes with 12 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions. How would you grade the start of his season thus far?
I would say probably a B. They haven't really up until last week. He just didn't really get a lot of chances. I think we were talking about this maybe a few weeks ago, but going into last week's game, that was the second fewest passing attempts they've attempted through 4 games in franchise history. Like a franchise that's been around since the 60s. Football's changed a lot since the 60s. So we didn't really see him get a ton of chances to show exactly what he could be. And then last week, finally they let him kind of cut it loose a little bit, and I think he played pretty well. They're missing an element of the kind of efficient passing game that they had with Drew these last couple of years, especially. Drew pointed it out on the Sunday Night Football broadcast, and I'm sure Sean Payton wants them to be able to hit on some of those high percentage throws and move the chains kind of throws. But he does add an element to this offense that was just not there in recent years, and it's been evident. I think he's connected on 3 passes of 57 or more air yards, according to Next Gen Stats. I think that's 3 more than Drew Brees has connected on since that organization started charting those stats in 2015, I think. So there's really potential there for this to just be a very explosive Saints offense, but they've got to start hitting on some more of those easy throws, and I think they got to trust Jameis a little bit more to be the guy that moves and generates the offense as opposed to just kind of being a caretaker of it.
Jeff Duncan reported this morning Saints look like Will Lutz may not be ready for Seattle, and then Cody Parkey played through an injury and missed some extra points on Sunday. I was joking with Sharif Ishak before the season started. I said, how many kickers is Sean Payton going to cut before Will Lutz comes back? I believe we're at 1 right now. We could get to another. Where do you see the kicker situation unfolding over the next 10 days?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to bring somebody in, and it's just been like an absolutely bizarre season for Saints kickers, right? Like they've had 3 separate guys get hurt now. Lutz started the season with his core muscle injury that required surgery. They signed Billy Maher, and he had a groin injury, and they released him because they needed a kicker. So they signed out Aldrich Rosas. He goes 1 for 4 in 4 weeks, and they're just like, okay, well, that's too much. We can't take the 3 misses. We're just going to release you. We'll bring in Cody Parkey. And of course, groin injury pregame. He misses 2 out of 5 extra points, and then they got Blake Gillikin handling kickoff. I think at this point, if I were Sean Payton, I'd just be like, screw it. We're gonna go for it on every 4th down. We're gonna go for every 2-point conversion. We're gonna let Gillikin handle the kickoff duties and hope he doesn't get hurt because he's awesome. And just start doing all of our weird black magic, hoping we can get Will Lutz back sooner than later, because it's been just a nightmare to this point this season.
I enjoy thinking about Sean Payton sitting in his office thinking and talking about kickers. I just think that would be wild entertainment. He just does not.
Well, Sean Payton
doesn't
enjoy thinking about Sean Payton thinking about kickers. I'll tell you that right now.
Luke, we appreciate some time. You still got a pretty good starting rotation, so the Brewers have got a shot here to stick around. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, man, if they can just get today and get it back back to Milwaukee, I think there's a chance. But they got to score more than 2 runs this entire DS, or else I'll be depressed.
I've been there. My team decided not to hit for 3 years in the playoffs, and now they all play for other teams. So it's a lonely feeling, but enjoy some baseball, Luke.
Yeah, we'll do, man. Talk to you all soon.
Sounds good. Luke Johnson from The Advocate covers the Saints. It's I think that's just a general sentiment on the Saints. Like, okay, they're in a reasonable spot after the bye. They could have been better. You hate losing at home to the Giants, but if you said you were going to beat Green Bay and New England away from the Dome, that's pretty good. And we thought Washington had a chance to be pretty good. What are they? We don't know yet, but it's still a road win in the NFL. So I think again they're in a reasonable spot, but they catch a break with Russell Wilson being out.
Yeah, that's a big break for them. And I think another thing, too, if you look at this amount of injuries this team just had to deal with this season and to have won 3 games to this point, I think, like you said, they take that. Obviously, you want to be 4-1. Obviously, losing to Danny Dimes at home. But it's a great spot to be heading to the bye week. Get a lot healthier going into that game, and you don't have to see Mr. Unlimited. So that's a good spot to be.
Talk a little bit of baseball. Finish out hour number 1. This is Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association. At Front to Back, they are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
Coming up on a Tuesday edition of Early Line, we start looking ahead to the weekend's action and go out to Las Vegas to talk to Rafael Esparza of DocSports.com. Plus, we get some playoff picks in Major League Baseball with Tyler Moody. Early Line, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I was able to get out to Alec Box last weekend. Nice crowd out there on Saturday. Couple hundred people for sure out there. And I think that's something that'll catch the eye of Jay Johnson and the staff, and certainly some of the new players. Like, whoa, this is a lot of people to come out and watch us practice before it's 4 or 5 months before the season starts. So a couple of things that I noticed, and look, you go out there and you watch 7 innings of baseball, you can't really evaluate the entirety of the team, and I can't make any sweeping judgments. Just some things that I noticed. Here's one, and again, this is not something that is a program-changing event, but I liked it. Between innings of this inter-squad scrimmage, as the pitcher is getting loose with the catcher on the mound, generally speaking, the first baseman will trot out there with a ball. The right fielder and center fielder will throw, and the left fielder will throw, with a bench player, whatever. Instead of that, while the pitcher was warming up, LSU's coaches came out and hit ground balls to the infielders, and they shot jugs machine fly balls to the outfielders. So, yeah, it's only 2.5 minutes while the pitcher's getting ready, but they're using that 2.5 minutes instead of just kind of tossing a ball around. They're working on some things. I like that. It's a good little use of time.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said that I would love to see from this LSU offense, efficiency, and that's so important in every sport, just how you value your time, you value your reps. You want to get something out of it. You could just be, jocking off, just tossing the ball around, or you can be working on BP, working on getting ground balls and doing the little things that's going to help you win in the long run. And I think that's a great idea from Coach Johnson. I think just talking to him, he wants to change things up. He doesn't want to do the same old rigmarole, and he wants to do things his way and fine-tune this way, and he wants guys to earn their keep around there. So I like where he's headed right now, and let's see if he can continue to do what he's doing.
Trey Morgan was working at first base. That should come as no surprise. He was your starting first baseman last year, but there was a thought that he may move to the outfield to try to accommodate maybe Jacob Berry and try to maybe get the best, most dynamic offense and defense out there. But he was playing first base. Berry was playing third. Cade Doty was actually at shortstop opposite Jordan Thompson. So just kind of looking at where those guys are starting, I think it's reasonable to think that Berry would start at third base. They're going to try to find a spot for him defensively, and they'll start at third and see what comes of it. Jordan Thompson is clearly, as I watch this group take infield, the most fluid infield defender that they have. Doty's pretty good. Berry is pretty average defender right now. Jack Merrifield came in from junior college. He was a junior college defensive player of the year. Not the smoothest defender, probably very efficient. Didn't make many errors last year at Eunice, but a little herky-jerky with the throwing motion. We'll see where he fits in. So I enjoy looking at that. Alex Milazzo still can catch and throw like a son of a gun. He gunned down Brennan Holt, who is maybe the fastest guy out there, which was an incredible catch and throw. Obviously got to get him going on the offensive side. Enjoyed Devin Fontenot breaking off a couple of sliders for strikeouts. He looked good in what I saw. Blake Money, I watched him jog towards me as I was sitting in the stands, and I go, who is that guy? That guy's huge. And then I looked up and, oh, that's Money. One, he cut his hair, and two, he has lost significant weight. He looks like a linebacker at this point. I mean, he was a little fluffy last year, had a little Kenny Powers look going from that HBO show. No, but Money, he looks like he's in great shape. I didn't see him pitch, but he looks like he's in great shape, and that's always something you look at in any sport when they come back out for another season. Who's kind of made some changes to their body.
Yeah, they do a great job. My boy Travis Roy, former Redemptress alum, running the strength and conditioning for the baseball program. So I know they're working hard doing their thing over there, and that's always great to see. Guys, coming off the season that they had last year, just wanting a little more out of that season. Guys are putting in the work, and that's what you want to see. And I think Coach Johnson has got to continue to lead those men in the way they need to go and be competitive in this tough schedule that they got to play next year.
Yep. And a couple more things that I saw. This felt right at home. I tweeted about it. Josh Stevenson, who is Andrew's little brother. Andrew, of course, in the big leagues with the Nationals, was playing right field, and Cade Doty hit a rocket to right field. And Doty was the triple, so somebody else hit a rocket to right center field, and Stevenson came flying over there and made a diving, laid-out catch. Seen his older brother do that many times in purple and gold, so it was nice to see Josh show his athleticism and play a little outfield as well. And then the other story wasn't from practice, but from Twitter. I saw this Eric Raiselman, who's brought in and is going to be a big piece to this pitching staff, tweeted out earlier today that he's decided to donate all the profits made off of his jersey shirt that's a collaboration with Player Strunk to the Wounded Warrior Project. So that's really cool for Eric Raiselman. Using that national letter of intent, he can make some money by selling his jersey shirt through this organization. Going to donate it back to Wounded Warriors. I think that's really, really cool. So we'll still talk a little bit of baseball as we move through the fall. They'll be back out there this weekend, and I will certainly be out there watching a little bit of baseball. We'll have some SEC power rankings coming up at the top of the next hour, and Adam Rittenberg from ESPN.com. He covers the national college football scene. We'll do that as well. Come back with us in hour number 2. It's Hunt and Hill on a Tuesday.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are now open for business and are ready to serve our customers with disaster relief employee pricing off I-10 in LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crews at Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are going to do right by you.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
this isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Injury Lawyers. This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
15 minutes from Adam Rittenberg joining us here. Adam wrote a piece on ESPN.com about the head coaching market in college football and what it could look like here as we move through the rest of this season. So we'll talk to Adam here in 15 minutes. A report coming in from Ian Rappaport at Rapsheet on Twitter says the Saints are signing kicker Brian Johnson off the Bears practice squad. He'll head to the 53-man roster. By rule, the undrafted free agent from Virginia Tech must stay on the roster for 3 games, is what he said, not 3 weeks. So it appears that Brian Johnson will be with the Saints for a month. We'll see when Will Lutz comes back, but it appears that Johnson's their next move.
Yeah, man, you know Sean Payton doesn't mess around with those idiot kickers, man. You got to make your field goals. So, yeah, they're going to make a move pretty soon.
Your groin's hurt? I don't care about your groin. Make the field goal.
Yep.
You don't? Next.
Yep. You got a short leash over there, so you better start drilling them. So, otherwise, we'll be seeing another move in probably another 3 weeks. So, hopefully they get that figured out.
You ready for power rankings?
Oh, yeah, I think you're going to love my list.
I generally don't, but we'll see how it goes. Let's toss it to you first. Give me your top 4.
Oh, I'm first. Okay, my top 4 may shock you a little bit here. Okay, number 1, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs. That Kirby juice, man. That Kirby juice is tasting real good these days, man. They're just beating everybody by a ton, playing defense, offense, doing everything you want to see from number 1 team in the country. And then number 2 is going to shock you a little bit.
There's only like 3 teams it can be.
Let's go Wildcats here. Let's go Kentucky as the
you
number
have lost
2
your mind.
team in the SEC now.
If Kentucky and Alabama played in Detroit, you think that Kentucky would win that game?
Did you watch Zach Calzada? Did you watch
No,
Emory
I was on the
Jones?
Best Game show, so I did not.
Did you watch Emory Jones and Zach Calzada? That's all I'm going to say. Kentucky.
Right.
Give me Kentucky right now.
All right,
Bam, I'm with 3. Tough road game. Probably, didn't get up as high as you want to for a Jimbo coach Aggie team who was 0-2 in the SEC. Little letdown there, so that's understandable. 4, I'm going Florida, man. The second best rushing attack in the country, the Florida Gators. I got to respect that. So I got Florida at 4.
All right, I've got Georgia at 1. That's a slam dunk at this point. They've clearly been the best team in the league. And I've got Alabama at number 2. That's just a bad loss. It's very rare that they don't lose to the Heisman winner. They generally speaking, it takes a Heisman winner to beat them. It was not the case this time. I don't see Calzada going on a run here and claiming the Heisman Trophy, but I've got Bama at number 2. I do have Kentucky at 3. We'll see how they stand up this week against Georgia, but having played Florida, in the way they did, they were impressive to any LSU fan that was watching over the weekend too. You still got what was not a very impressive in performance against Chattanooga, not impressive against South Carolina. It is what it is, but they're pretty solid on both sides of the ball. They know what they want to be and what they want to do. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen, but I've got them at 3, and then I've got Ole Miss at number 4 still. Look, that defense is still not very good, and they're not ready to play with the big boys, but you're kind of out of big boys after Georgia runs off the field. So I've got Ole Miss at number 4 just because I think they're going to score a lot of points on whoever they play. So I got Georgia, Bama, Kentucky, Ole Miss, my top 4.
Okay. 5, I got A&M. I got the Aggies right there. They were worrying me for a little stretch there. I thought they go through a really rough patch in this SEC West schedule, but huge win at home, saves their season, gives them a lot to fight for, gives them a lot more confidence. That's a big win for Jimbo, finally beating Nick. In 6, I got Ole Miss. I wouldn't normally have them a lot higher, but that defense is just bad. It's just bad, man. You let KJ Jefferson look like KJ Cam Newton out there, just running all over the yard, tossing touchdowns. Man, that's a bad look. But that offense is so high-powered, you got to respect them. So they're at 6 for me. 7, I got Arkansas. KJ, man, that was a performance. That's what was my, Achilles heel for that team, the quarterback play. If KJ plays like that, that's going to be tough. So gotta respect them up at 7 and 8. I got Bo Nix, baby, Auburn Tigers. Not much to really put them there, but just the way you look at the rest of the SEC, you got to put them there.
We got the same top 8. I mean, they're in different orders, but it's the same teams. At 5, I've got Florida. Go on the road and lose to Kentucky doesn't look quite as bad now. They've been pretty solid in the rest of the games, including Alabama. So I got them at 5. Got Arkansas at 6. Look, Arkansas beat Texas A&M and played tough against Ole Miss on the road. Their one loss, their one blemish to this point is going on the road to Georgia, and that's not tough. So I've got them at number 6. I've got A&M at 7. Yeah, that's a nice win against Alabama. The rest of your schedule still looks pretty pitiful. So one night in Kyle Field, it'll be a magical one. Make the cups, whatever you got to do over in College Station to celebrate a team that's not going to the New Year's 6. But yeah, they've got them at 7, and I've got Auburn at number 8. So we got the same teams. My 5 through 8 is Florida at 5, Arkansas 6, A&M 7, and Auburn in my 8th slot. All right, we'll see when one of us gets to LSU because we ain't got there.
Oh, man. I don't know if people are going to like me, but hey, I got to be honest, man. This is my power rankings for the week. Go off how you play. You impress me, you move up.
You fly up and down week to week.
Yeah,
There's no doubt.
Course.
You're very recency bias is big in the J Hill poll of the
Yeah,
week.
it's a power ranking. It's a power rankings for the week. You got to, you play good over the weekend, you impress me, you move up. You play bad, you go down. It's not really that hard for me. But 9, I got Tennessee. The Fighting Hendon Hookers, they're scoring. They're scoring and they're rushing it, passing on the ground. You asked me earlier, what do you think we do well? They do both. The Hendon's throwing it well and they can run it. So that's what you want to see as an offense. 10, I got Mississippi State. Just up and down, up and down. We know how we feel about the Leach era, but they found a way to beat A&M. So that was probably the win of their season this year, especially after A&M took care of Alabama. So that was a big win for them last week.
Yep.
South Carolina is at my number 11 team.
What?
Listen here.
I'm listening.
Football math. Go watch how South Carolina play Kentucky. Go watch how we play
the transitive property. That's what we're going to do because it can get real nasty real quick with the transitive property.
This is going to even make you even more upset. Number 12, I got the B&B connection, Beatty and Basilak.
Okay, you've lost your mind.
I'm going Beatty and Basilak. Dude,
you also going with that defense?
Yes, we look the same. Our defense looks the same. They're the same defense.
No.
They're the same defense. All right, 13, I'll be nice. I was thinking about it.
Okay.
I was pushing. I was going to push it. But I'll keep us at a cool 13. 13th best team in the SEC.
Nice.
Woo, Fighting Tigers of LSU. And then we got our brothers-in-laws at the bottom, Vanderbilt.
All right. Okay. I got Mississippi State at 9. You beat Texas A&M on the road. You've been fairly competitive. Not a great team, but I've got them at 9. I do have Tennessee ahead of LSU. I've got Tennessee at 10 because they've found themselves a little bit on offense. They've got it's what I was talking about in the first segment. What can you hang your hat on? At Tennessee, okay, we're going to be explosive on offense. We're going to be fast. We're going to be tough to deal with. That's something they want to be. Now, you're not going to get a ton of credit for beating Missouri and South Carolina, who stink. But you got something to hang your hat on. LSU right now doesn't. That's why I've got them at 11th in the conference. LSU did still go on the road and beat Texas A&M. Beat Mississippi State, and they were competitive against Auburn. But I've got them 11. Missouri's just atrocious on defense. They let North Texas back into the game over the weekend. North Texas hadn't beaten a D1 team. They're 12th. Still have South Carolina 13th. I think they're really just weak in terms of personnel. And then the doors, anchor down, anchor to the bottom, number 14. I've got them there. So my entire power rankings: Georgia 1, Bama 2, Kentucky 3, Ole Miss 4, Florida is 5, Arkansas 6, got A&M at 7, Auburn 8, Mississippi State 9, Tennessee 10, LSU at the 11th spot, 12 is Missouri, 13 South Carolina, 14 Vanderbilt.
Numero uno, I got Georgia 2, Kentucky 3, Bama 4, Florida 5, Texas A&M 6, Ole Miss 7, Arkansas 8, Auburn 9, Tennessee 10. I got Mississippi State 11, South Carolina 12, Missouri 13. Our poor LSU Tigers, and 14 Vanderbilt.
He says we're worse than South Carolina by 2 spots. The Gamecocks.
Yep.
Who to this point.
I like how they put up a fight against the Wildcats. We did not have much fight to it. So I don't know, man. If we line it up with Kentucky again, I don't know how much
beat
different.
East Carolina by 3. They beat Troy by 9. They lost to Tennessee by 25. Play Vanderbilt this week. Exciting news for the folks in Columbia.
Yeah, that's a great one on everyone's schedule. You get to circle that stat game off. And
we've had LSU anywhere. We've had them from. Did you ever have them up at 2? I think.
Heck no.
I think they got to 3 or 4 and early on. Maybe before the season started, we may have had them up there. I think you probably had them at 3. We'll have to go back and check the tape.
Oh man,
we've had them all the way from 3 to 13. That's quite a volatile run for the Fighting Tigers on the home front. But at this point, what are you going to do? Jeremy's got them at 13th. I've got them at 11th. Any way you slice it, they're near the bottom. They got to find something to figure things out this week against Florida. All right, we'll go to Adam Rittenberg here in the next segment. As I said to start the show in this hour, Adam has a piece up on ESPN.com just kind of talking about the coaching marketplace in college football as we move forward. He appears to believe that LSU will be right in the mix for that, so we'll get his thoughts on it. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury joins the show. We'll talk Saints with Larry Holder, and Feinswag talks beer. Join us Tuesday, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill here on a Tuesday. We now welcome in Adam Rittenberg. Adam's senior writer for college football over at ESPN. He's got a story up right now on ESPN Plus. The midseason hot seat report. Could coaching changes be coming at LSU, Miami, and beyond? Adam, we appreciate some time. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Good. Doing very well. Obviously, you led your midseason hot seat report with LSU. What's your read on the situation?
Right. Well, as you guys know, it's a tough deal right now. 8-8 since the national championship, and there's certainly an expectation if things don't improve in a hurry that there will be a change in Baton Rouge. Now, they have opportunities here coming up against some good teams to get things on track, but just with the nature of the loss on Saturday to Kentucky, I think there's certainly more doubt than optimism, even outside of Baton Rouge, about what's going to happen there. So definitely a hot spot, the hottest spot that a lot of people are watching, after last year's cycle, which I think featured more major coaching changes than a lot of people thought because of the pandemic. 3 jobs were sort of targeted this year. It was USC, LSU, and Michigan, and USC's already open with Clay Hilton being fired. Michigan doesn't appear to be opening because they're undefeated in the top 10, and so all eyes really are on Baton Rouge and LSU at this point.
In your experience covering this thing on a national level, how much do athletic directors, boosters, power brokers, decision makers consider what's going on other places as opposed to what's happening right in their corner of the store?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to consider it, but I think also you have to look at what your situation is and, your finances and your willingness. I mean, I wrote a lot today about the motivation factor. Money is always a factor in terms of coaching changes, doing them, thinking about them. But ultimately, you have to be motivated. And USC clearly was motivated, making their change after just 2 games. And I do think there's a level of motivation at LSU, especially considering Scott Woodward's reputation as an athletic director. So you're definitely looking around elsewhere who might be willing to leave, whose situation is one that they may want to get out of, and then just who else is available that maybe we're not thinking about. And that's the job of an athletic director and deputy athletic directors and others that you work with before actually going forward with the search.
If you were Scott Woodward, who would be some names on the top of your coaching list if you were to make that change?
Right. Well, again, as you guys know, Scott's reputation is that he has swung big and landed some very big fish in his career with Chris Peterson. No one thought Chris Peterson would leave Boise State, and he gets them to go to Washington. Scott does. Jimbo Fisher, national championship winning head coach at Florida State. He gets them at Texas A&M. So I don't think, again, with all due respect to the Jamie Chadwells and Billy Napiers, I think if LSU makes a change, they're going to try to get somebody who is either a sitting Power 5 head coach, which doesn't happen nearly as often as you think, or someone with Power 5 head coaching experience. And so I think, you certainly look at James Franklin. He's on USC's radar as well. But I think if Penn State doesn't get to the playoffs this year, there'll be a sense that he's kind of done all he can do there. And, winning a Big Ten title, 3 top 10s, but unable to get to the playoffs. I think he would want maybe a new start, whether it's LSU or USC. Mario Cristobal is very interesting, guys, because in many ways he's what LSU wants, a relentless recruiter who will compete with Nick Saban and others and Kirby Smart on the recruiting trail, but also is now shown that he can oversee a program, hire really good assistants. He's won multiple conference titles at Oregon. They may win a third one this year. Now, he's very expensive because he's got a $9 million buyout in addition to the other costs LSU would have to pay. So those two guys, I think you make a run at Lincoln Riley, you make a run at Dabo Swinney. I mean, LSU is one of the best jobs in the country. The last three head coaches have won national championships there. So I think you absolutely go for those level of coaches. I don't know if Mark Stoops is seen as a home run, but he's done a great job at Kentucky, which is 6-0 for the first time since 1950 at a program that really hasn't had a whole lot of success in the SEC until he got there. So I think LSU has no shortage of options if it does go ahead and make a change.
How good's the USC job?
I still think it's a great job. I mean, especially with NIL, if they're able to strategize and be aligned with the possibilities in that market, I think it's again, you have the most tradition on the West Coast in terms of winning national championships. You have the most tradition in terms of Heisman trophies, and a star at USC is a big deal. And I think when all things are equal, with all I respect what Mario's done at Oregon. I think USC is the best job in the Pac-12, and with an expanded playoff, they're going to have a great chance to be in there. So if you're James Franklin and you're, in my view, at the second best job in the Big Ten, some people would say it's the third best job in the Big Ten. What could USC tempt you to make a move to a new region where if you have it going, you're the best job in that whole region of the country, or going to LSU, where they've won national championships under multiple coaches. But I think USC still has a lot going for it. And now they have a competent athletic director. They have a good president. And so I think there's more alignment there than they've had in the past.
Adam Rittenberg is our guest, works for ESPN, got a great story up on ESPN about the head coaching marketplace right now in college football. It's the midseason hot seat report. Let's kind of move around a little bit here, Adam. Your thoughts on Cincinnati and their playoff chances, and then Luke Fickell's future?
Right. Well, I think, Cincinnati, as long as they continue to win, they should be in that conversation, but they may need some help. They likely need, either the Big Ten or the SEC to have only one playoff entrant. If both leagues have two, then they're out. If one league has two and SEC is still looked at as the likelier of the two leagues to have multiple playoff participants, that reduces their ability to get into just one slot. So, and the problem that Cincinnati has, the biggest one, is that their schedule is just not going to be that impressive, even if they run the table. They need Notre Dame to keep winning. They need SMU to keep winning until they play Cincinnati in Cincinnati in late November. They need Houston to keep winning to maybe match up with them in the AAC title game. But that conference, this isn't as strong as it's been in the past. Now, with Luke, I think Luke's in a good spot. He loves Cincinnati. His wife loves Cincinnati. They're from Ohio. They're heading to the Big 12 in the near future. And so, his desire to maybe leave, even for a USC, the athletic director there, Mike Bone, hired him at Cincinnati. I don't know if it's that strong. I think if there's a premier job in the Midwest, in Ohio State certainly, or Notre Dame, or maybe even Penn State if James Franklin were to leave, that could be an interesting option for him. But he can also ride it out at Cincinnati. As somebody told me yesterday, a prominent source in the industry, as soon as they get into the Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma, they're probably a top 3 job in that league. So by no means does he have to leave anytime soon.
How important was that win last week for the Texas A&M football team? Do you think Jimbo's in the hot seat if he starts this season 0-3 in the SEC play?
Not with what they owe him, no. I do think it's an important win, though, to just validate some of the things that they're trying to get done there. Because you don't pay Jimbo what A&M is paying him, and that additional raise before the season, which I know I laughed at. You don't do that unless you're trying to win national championships. Now, they're not going to win a national championship this year, but they showed that they can compete with a national championship caliber team and beat them and do something that Nick Saban assistants they just don't do, which is beat the master. And so a big moment for A&M. They're recruiting really well. And when Haynes King comes back, it'll be a very interesting situation if Zach Calzada continues to play like this, because it looks like there was a massive gap between the two, and he seemed to close it against Alabama. So they have a lot of talent there, and they're recruiting well. But now, again, it's still another year where unless there's some crazy things that happen in the SEC, they're not going to be part of the playoff.
He's Adam Rittenberg, our guest here on Hunt and Hill. Adam, let's go to what we'll see in Tiger Stadium on Saturday, LSU in Florida. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, again, I think LSU is going to have to put out a much stronger performance. They just, again, weren't very competitive against Kentucky, getting down the way they did. They're struggling on both sides of the ball. Now they're back home where fans are unhappy. How are the fans going to receive the first mistake, whether it's a touchdown allowed or a turnover or just something? And how's the team going to respond to that? They hear, as much as they want to say they don't hear that, they know what's going on outside the program. They know what you guys are talking about, what I'm writing about. And it's difficult for college athletes to not let that affect them. But I think, again, they beat this team last year. I don't think talent is ever the problem at LSU. It's more cohesion and scheme. And is everybody on the same page? Are they avoiding mistakes? We saw Florida really struggle when they went on the road to Kentucky a couple of weeks ago. Their defense played great, and they still lost the game. So I think this is still, I think every game for LSU is still winnable pretty much, and maybe not Alabama, but they're going to have to certainly perform at a much higher level than they did this last week in Lexington.
How good's Kentucky?
I think, again, I spoke with their defensive coordinator, Brad White. I love their defense, and they have, really good pieces in all three levels of a defense, which I like to judge a defense. Is there any weakness? And I don't think that Kentucky, even though they lost some good defensive linemen to injury, there's no glaring weakness on defense. For me, they have to avoid turnovers, and they were very, very fortunate. They were last in the country in turnover margin through the first 4 weeks. They still may be down there at the bottom. And they haven't lost a game. Now, that's not a formula that's going to last. They certainly can't turn it over this weekend against Georgia and have any chance. So I think their offense and their coordinator, Liam Cohen, is really interesting. So is their quarterback, Will Levis. But if they don't, if they turn the ball over, we're going to start to see some losses there. If they don't, and they're in games till the end, they've shown they can win close games, and they've shown they can win games in different ways. So I think it's a pretty solid program. I don't know if they're a top 5 or top 10 program, but they've gotten it done so far at home. And you've got to give them credit for that. Now the challenges will come on the road.
If someone would ask me Iowa would be the number 2 ranked team in the country halfway through the season, I wouldn't believe them. How legit do you think this Iowa Hawkeye team is?
Yeah, they are legit. And again, the thing with Iowa, you have to look at them differently than a lot of other programs because that's how they play. They're not a team that's built to score 50 points a game or to have 10, 25 yards or long explosive type plays. They're very complimentary. One of their star players is their punter, who's just outstanding, and he continued to pin Penn State deep in its own end. They're a team that likes to win by making less mistakes than the opponent, and they've obviously done that really well this year, leading the nation in takeaways and interceptions. They're excellent on defense. They're a back-to-front defense, which really puts a lot of elements on zone coverage and keeping their eyes on the quarterback. And they have a veteran secondary filled with playmakers. So it's a really, really good group overall on defense. And then on offense, they kind of just do enough. And they're going to have to do more, I think, going forward to remain undefeated. But it's a very, very strong team with a lot of good leaders.
He's Adam Rittenberg, senior writer on college football for ESPN. You can follow him on Twitter at ESPN Rittenberg. Got a great piece up on ESPN.com now. You can go check it out. Adam, we really appreciate some time.
All right, guys. Appreciate you.
Adam Rittenberg. It's just the reality of the situation. That's where some of this chatter started, and it's on a national level. And wanted to get Adam's thoughts on it. And I think he's got a finger on the pulse of this whole thing. He's based out of Chicago, but covers ESPN nationally, and that's kind of where he sees it.
Yeah, I like a different set of lens because my homer bias down here. I just love my Tigers so much. Sometimes I miss a few. Sometimes. But I think everyone knows the standard of LSU football. You're expected to compete for the SEC West, to go to Atlanta, and to be in a college football playoff. That's just bare minimum here. So anytime those things aren't happening, you're going to start seeing the tea leaves. You're going to start hearing those whispers. That's what we got Woodward for. It's his decision and the university's decision, and I'll support them in everything they do.
Half an hour to go here on a Tuesday edition. If you're looking for something to do tonight, 8:30, Pluckers on Nicholson. I will be hosting sports trivia. We'll be watching some playoff baseball. Listen, some cold drinks, something good to eat, a little sports trivia. It's a good time. So 8:30 to about 9:45. Looking for something to do, come on by. We'd love to have you this evening at Pluckers. We'll come back and get this last hour at half an hour hammered home here on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license.
It's week 7 in the prep football season, and we get you started Friday night with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. And then starting at 10 o'clock, it's a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to Adam Rittenberg for jumping aboard. Luke Johnson in the first hour talking Saints. Had our SEC Power Ranks at the top of the hour. A little baseball talk at the end of the first hour. If you want to catch any or all of that, you can do it on demand, 1045ESPN.com, or on your ESPN Baton Rouge app on your smart device, or you can go to YouTube channel presented by Bayou Ford. The Saints on a bye week this week. That's pretty early, 5 games into the season. But obviously, this Saints team would rather have it here than, week 10 because they've got so many guys who are hurt early, and you'd rather get that extra week here try to get Michael Thomas back, try to get Will Lutz back. And so you can have 1 week where you don't play. I think this is a beneficial time, although it is early.
Yeah, I've had it all spots throughout the season. I think I don't mind early because you coming out of training camp, banging your body every day, then you're playing preseason game, banging your body, then you're jumping right into it. And then a lot of times you just feel like it's never ending. You're going week after week after week, and then you get that lovely Thursday night game, and then your body just really starts aching after a certain amount of time. So getting it early in the season doesn't hurt. You can kind of knock some of those cobwebs off. The nicks and knacks that you get just from playing football, you're able to take care of those early on in the season. So they're not really, really too heavy on you when you get to the back end. So I think for the Saints, though, specifically, I think it's the perfect time for them with so many guys with nicks and knacks, so many guys out of the lineup, in and out of the lineup, some guys coming back from suspension as well. I think it'll definitely do them well.
What does a bye week look like for an NFL player?
Yeah, so you normally depends on what day you play on, but most of the time you're going to be playing on that Sunday, depending on your coach and how you played. A lot of times they'll just we'll come break the film down Monday morning, get a workout in, get a stretch in, and then you're gone. You don't have to report back probably till that next Monday. It depends on how your head coach is. Some of them will let you come back that Wednesday, hit you with the see you on Wednesday. I only got a couple of those in my lifetime, but yeah, it just depends. But most of the time, you get that full week off. You can kind of do what you want and take care of your body.
I'm assuming there are some stories of some guys you see the stories of Odell and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Trips to Cabo for Romo and Witten, those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the vibe in the locker room like on the bye week?
Yeah, it just depends, man. It's like some of the guys are older, married with kids, so they have their own little family thing going. Then you kind of got some of the younger guys on the team doing their little thing. So it just depends on what time of year and what's going on. And then obviously, smack dab in the football season, you get guys on the same college team. Sometimes the schools will be playing each other, and you get together with some of your teammates to go check the game out. Got your little, friendly bets, your friendly wagers, and you kind of keep it rolling that way.
Was that one of the things you looked at when you saw the bye week, like who's LSU got that week?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you look at that, like OTA spring in the springtime, because you'd be surprised the banner you have with, guys coming from SEC schools, and you got guys from Boise State thinking they're about to win a championship. So you have a lot of talks about that kind of stuff, and it just makes it more fun for sure.
So was LSU, if LSU's on the road, would you have gone to a road game?
Oh, yeah. I went to Tuscaloosa. I think that was 2017. What was it, 2016?
Yeah, it's the odd years.
Yeah,
so
17. Yeah, I went to Tuscaloosa in 17.
That did not go great.
Yeah, it did not. It was bad. That was the year I think Leonard was up for the Heisman. Everyone was pumping Leonard for Heisman, I think, that
15
year.
Was when he went. 15 was the Derrick Henry game with Leonard.
That's when I went. 15.
Yeah, I was I got somehow, if they're listening, Bill Sanders, Lynn Raymond, Rory Blossman, somehow they convinced me to go to that football game in 15, and I will never forgive them. This is the trip I had for that. We got up on Saturday morning, went through New Orleans, picked people up, and drove to Tuscaloosa. We get in there, it rains all day. So we're like in these bars, you're trying to walk from bar to bar, you're soaking wet with rain, it's terrible. We sat on almost the top row of the stadium, got just absolutely smoked. Leonard couldn't get past the line of scrimmage. Derrick Henry's busting long runs. We get beat. We get in the car and drive back to Meridian, Mississippi, I think. And the hotel we're staying at, I'm not talking about like a 3-foot deal, had a sinkhole collapse in the parking lot. This thing had cars in it. It was so big. It was like 50 feet wide and like 100 yards long. And it knocked the water out of the hotel we were staying in. So we had driven to Tuscaloosa, been out and drinking and rained on all day, sweaty, go in the stadium, get our butt kicked, drive back. We have no running water. We're trying to brush our teeth with bottles of water. Can't take a shower. You got 4 guys in a hotel room. Absolute disaster. I said, I'm never going back to Tuscaloosa until Saban retires, ever. And of course, 2 times later we went, and it was 19, and it was great, and we won. But that was just hopefully your hotel that you stayed at had running water, because mine did not.
No, I actually got out of there each time. I think I was staying in Atlanta, actually. I went to one of the years, this is what happened. We went to the Georgia-Tennessee game and then caught the LSU-Alabama game in Tuscaloosa.
Dang.
So, yeah, we got a full slate of college football on one of those Saturday weekends. So I normally don't ever stay in Tuscaloosa. I know the guy, even in 19, once we scored that touchdown before halftime, I'm like, oh, it's time to go. We got this one in the bag. I'm not trying to fight that Tuscaloosa traffic.
So you went to the game and left at halftime?
Yes, I did. Yes,
what?
I did. Yep, I did. Definitely did. I first off, I went last minute, so there weren't any hotels to begin with. So there's no way. That was even just out of the question to begin with. So I would have stayed the whole time, but we had it in the bag, man.
Oh, yeah, we had it right in the bag. Sure, we won by a
but-
touchdown. I mean, it was a fluke deal. They scored at the end, but my God. Now, everybody in the Bayou Ford chat, Greg Lehman, let's see, Nookie, they're all looking for the I Love Tuscaloosa bump. Look, the bars in Tuscaloosa are fun. I enjoy my time there. I hate that school. I want nothing but horrible, horrible things to happen to their football program at all times. But I do enjoy having a couple pops right outside the stadium. It's enjoyable. I've been there when we won. 2011 was a ball.
Yep, the little Innisfree, little Rounders. I know that whole little area right in front of the stadium. They got a nice little
Got the
couple bars.
Houndstooth, Rounders. Yeah, they got some Gillettes. Yeah, they got some places that work. I'm for it. But I don't like getting my butt kicked, and that's happened a couple of times there. But I've actually won a few. I went in 07, we won. Went in 11, and we won. So I've won there twice.
Yep, yeah. I went 19, went to 11. Got my butts kicked there in 13. That was fun.
I was on the field I was covering the game in 2011, and I was on the field standing right there when Michael Ford stepped out of bounds. We had Michael on the show a few weeks ago, and so I'm right there, and like he comes by, I certainly can't see that he stepped out of bounds. He was like 12 feet from me, but I'm thinking he's turned it up and scored. I'm looking at all the pom-poms flying down from the stadium, and it's just they called it back. But I was right there on the field when they here's a good story from that game. I was right on the field when the kick goes through from Alamon to win the game. And I said, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to run right out to midfield. And I did this. It's petty and it's kind of pathetic, but I don't regret it. I walked right out to the field where Saban and Miles shook hands, and I got about 15 yards away from Saban, and I walked from midfield, even with Saban, all the way to the goal line, just kind of watching him, just kind of taking it in. One, I was writing about the game after, so I thought I might get some sort of reaction or something. I mean, doubtful, but there's something to be there. Two, I just total pettiness. Guy who was sick of getting his butt kicked by Saban, totally resented the fact that he was Alabama's coach. And I'm a petty guy. It's the way it goes. And so I had to soak in his misery. And of course, he comes back and just drives a Mack truck over my heart, 2 months later in the Superdome. But I did get a little bit of enjoyment out of that.
No, you had to, because those moments don't happen often.
I thought it was over. I thought we were done with them. I knew how good they were. I thought we had slayed the dragon and we were done. And then Iowa State.
That dragon ain't going nowhere, buddy. Trust me, that they're gonna be there.
I thought it was done for that season.
Okay. I was about to say, yeah, but nah. As soon as they saw that, I just keep talking to guys that played on that team. Coach Miles was like, celebrate the victory, because they've got Alabama for the championship. Everyone's looking at each other like, man, we got to play these dudes again.
I was well aware of that. I knew that was coming. So, yeah, I mean, Nookie says in the chat that Hunt had Saban thoroughly intimidated. I felt like that. I can stand taller than that guy. He's got everything else in the world over me, but I stand taller than him. It was a petty move. I totally understand that it was probably stupid, but I enjoyed it at the time. All right, let's take a time out, come back and close things up here on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Ochsner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Ochsner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Shield.
Coming up on Tuesdays, Off the Bench. Coach O stops by the program to highlight what the Tigers need to fix. And our guy, Nick Underhill, gives you the best breakdown of the black and gold. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Wrapping things up on a Tuesday. Some bummer news just hit the wire from Adam Schefter. Clyde Edwards-Helaire on injured reserve, the short term. So that's 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
He'll be down 3 weeks. MCL, I think, is what it looks like. So Clyde will be on the shelf for a little bit. The other news that we reported, well, we didn't report, we read off the report. The Saints have signed a kicker off the Bears practice squad to take the place as Will Lutz continues to return. So sure, Matt and the boys will have some more on that a little bit later this afternoon. Let's do a little take it or leave it. We do it to end every single show. The Yankees are leaning towards keeping Aaron Boone around. Take it or leave it.
Man, I need a little more, Aaron. I just do. I know you're a Yankee faithful. You play for the team. You know, you battle. I just need a little more. These rosters are just so stacked, man. You got every bat you could buy on this side of the Mississippi River, and we just seem to can't get over the hump. We get in these tight playoff situations, and we just don't get it done. So I think I'll give it one more run, but man, I'm going to need a little more from you, Coach Boone. A little more.
I think where I would look if I was ownership of the Yankees is at Brian Cashman. He's been there as a general manager since 1998. And I wouldn't suggest that he's done a terrible job, but the fact of the matter is that they've got a large payroll, and have not been, a real factor in the playoffs outside of the one World Series run here in over a decade. And so, I think they had a really good team that got beat by Houston, and you can say whatever you want about that series in terms of what Houston was doing, but is it time to hit a reset there? I think that's a possibility. Look, I don't think Cashman's done a bad job, but that ain't the Tampa Bay Rays general manager job where you got to find out how to penny pinch and use openers and jerry rig a roster. No, I mean you got all the cash you need. Go make it happen, and it hasn't worked. Yeah.
I mean, we got rid of Joe Girardi. That was a okay run that he had. You bring in Boone, you bring in the Yankee blood. That's what we keep trying to bring in, but it just seems to not have getting the results that you would have with the payroll that we put out every year. So, man, we may be having to make a move, but I just don't know if they do it this soon. All right, let's see here. NFL has selected 3 cities in Germany to bid for an NFL game. Are you taking or leaving NFL games in Germany?
Just can't leave it any faster. And I realize that every single freaking decision that is ever made in any of these sports has to do with money and how do we get more money. But I'm out. I don't need everybody flying around the world to places that don't know the rules of football to go watch the Jets and Falcons play. I don't care about that. That just doesn't do anything for me. And no one in Germany cares either. They might go like, oh, look at this. But it's like, me watching a rugby game. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's so obnoxious that they have to try to do. I mean, they played in Major League Baseball series in Japan a couple of years ago while everyone else was in spring training. And they came back and then played more spring training games and then started. It's just like, just stop. It's fine. We can play in America. That works okay. We don't have to just try to do all this crazy stuff. We don't need to put a team in London. Just lead the games here. It's fine.
Yeah, I played in London for one game, and I knew it was going to be some foolishness when they had to tell the fans when to cheer, to let you know that it's just bad, man. I like what you're doing. You're trying to get the game more worldwide, trying to get the game more global, trying to get more eyes to the NFL, but man, that was not a fun trip going way out there, and the fans are just not into it. You got to wake up, all your sleep schedule's all the way thrown off, then you got to fly right back. It's a lot on the body. So I hope they know what they're doing.
Speaking of doing things a different place, this is something I meant to talk about today and forgot, but I'm glad I remembered here at the end of the show. The Pelicans are going to go down to Thibodeau and practice at Nicholls State and allow entry, and they're going to raise some money for, obviously hurricane relief and whatnot down there. That is a great idea by the Pelicans. You need community involvement to get people interested in that team. It's a Saints town, we know that, and the Pelicans scrap for relevancy time and time again and haven't really found it. They've had face of the franchise players, but that only goes so far. I think trying to get out in the community and being present, creating new energy, with young people and maybe people that haven't been interested but will be because they get to go watch a practice and meet Zion and whatever. I think that's a great idea. So that's not a take it or leave it, but I'm thrilled that the Pels are going down to Thibodeau and doing that here in the very near future. Down 19 points, Lamar Jackson rallied Baltimore in an epic comeback win over Indianapolis. Taking or leaving Lamar as the MVP frontrunner to this point.
Ooh, that's a tough one, but I'll take it, man.
I'll take it.
I think he's won an MVP already when you can use your legs like he can, and then you still find a way to throw for 400 passing yards. He's taken down Mahomes already this year, so he's right up there, man. I don't see why you couldn't point to anyone else. I know there's some other guys out there, Herbert, Allen. There's some guys out there.
How about the guy over in Tampa? I forget his name. He leads the NFL in passing yards. He's one short of the touchdown record, and he's got a team that's got one loss.
Yeah, he could be up there too. But what Lamar did last night was just impressive, man. I think you got to put him up there. All right. We got one more, I think. Okay, yeah. The Nets say Kyrie Irving will not play or practice with the team until he is eligible to participate as a full participant. So are you taking or leaving that decision?
I'm going to take it. I mean, I'll take it. You can do whatever you want in this country to a certain extent, and he's within his rights not to get that vaccine, but you can't play in home games if you do that because there's a law against it or there's a regulation against it. And I'm just not going to say, hey, can you show up when we go to Cleveland and we'll just get you in there and get you on the floor? Like, I probably need to have a guy practicing to come play with me in road games. And if he's not going to do it, then the Nets have an obligation to win games, not to make Kyrie happy. And I think they've got a better chance to win if they play with the guys that practice and play in the home games. That makes the most sense to me. You got to take on that.
Yeah, I definitely do. It's just too much of a distraction, I think, when you're an NBA team trying to win and trying to do what the Nets are going to do. Obviously, prohibited favorites to win it all next year. You got to have your guys there. You got to have that commitment. You got to have that camaraderie. And when you have a guy that's not going to play in half the games and possibly more of it with some states like California who's passing some of these vaccination laws, it's just too much going on. So I think for Kyrie, until he figures out what he wants to do, you see guys like Andrew Wiggins and certain other guys have to make that sacrifice, because if you want to play basketball, it's just a sacrifice you have to make, and everyone has to make those decisions every day. Like you said, Kyrie can pass up on him if he wants to, but he just has to understand that you're not going to be able to play basketball if you do that.
I mean, the Nets aren't making these laws and rules. They just have to abide by what the jurisdiction, and so they got to make a decision, try to win games. You're a good player, but we can't use you this year. That's just kind of the way it goes. Jam-packed show here on a Tuesday. Thanks to Luke Johnson, who came aboard in the first hour. Thanks to Adam Rittenberg, who joined us talking college football here in the second hour. A little LSU baseball talk at the end of hour one, if you want to go back and catch some of that. And Jeremy and I kind of painted a pretty grim picture to start the show as to what this LSU football team looks like. If you want that, it is all on demand on 1045ESPN.com, or also you can find it in the Bayou Ford YouTube channel. That is 1045 ESPN. Tomorrow's show, we will hear from Ed Ogeron, who will have been on the SEC teleconference. Also start looking at LSU Florida. I hadn't really talked about that yet on this, but that's a game that's actually coming up. So we might as well get to that. Anything that catches your eye about that early on?
Oh, man. I think our defense.
There's a revenge factor here that we got to get to.
Oh yeah, I think they're going to be rushing for a lot of yards in Death Valley this Saturday. That's what I'll be getting my eyes ready to see.
They're certainly going to try. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Again, if you looking for something to do tonight, Pluckers Wing Bar, Nicholson. I'll be there at 8:30 for sports trivia. Matt Moscona is driving you home tonight from 3 to 6 on AFR. Jimmy Yacht's Game Time from 6 to 8. And the boys coming up next, that is Mario and Musso with your early line. Thanks to Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp. We'll see y'all tomorrow on Hunt and Hill.